Hello fans, collectors, investors. Welcome back to Iconic Baseball. Iconic Al here. It's been 2 weeks since the 2025 National in Chicago, and I have had no time to record any kind of a recap until now. And I'm glad actually that I took some time to reflect and recount my national experience this year. It was a brief one. It was only about a 10-hour experience for me, about 5 hours at the show and then 5 hours after the show. It was only there for one day, and then I spent the rest of the weekend hanging with buddies in Chicago. But it was just perfect. It was just perfect. I got to see so many people in the community, which I'll shout out later, was successful in what I was able to pick up at the National. And I'll tease a little something for later in the video. I was able to make a great connection at the YouTube happy hour after the National, which led to an amazing pickup in the last week or so. So I have that piece now in my possession, and I can't be any more happy with my overall experience and what I came away with, as well as the social interactions and all the other great things associated with the National this year. So without any further ado, here is my full 2025 National recap video.
Take me out to the ball game. Take me out with the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and cracker jack. I don't care if I never get back. Let me root for the home team. If they don't win, it's a shame. For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game.
Okay, before we get into the show itself, I had a national pickup before the National this year because I used national money to buy it, and that was this Wilson Franks Bob Feller, which I love. And so that took a little bit of money away from my national budget, but I still considered it a national pickup for me this year. So that was the first thing. I was coming in already having had one pickup, so that was good. I flew in late morning into O'Hare, Terminal 5, and I was confronted right away with a CGC graded card vending machine. I don't know if anyone else saw this, but in Terminal 5, the international terminal at O'Hare, there was literally a CGC mystery box, basically like a lottery mystery graded card vending machine in the airport. So that was crazy to get off the airport to go to the National, and you're confronted first thing getting off the plane, walking through the terminal, and you see a graded card vending machine. So that's one clue that we're going mainstream here with this hobby right now, and I don't know if that's good or bad, but it is what it is. I guess we're in the process of 10xing or whatever that means. But so there's that. Then I got on the blue line and went to Rosemont, got off at the Rosemont stop and walked about 6 or 7 minutes to the convention center. And so I was there around noon and was able to spend, about 5 hours at the show, just walking around. And throughout the course of walking around, I was able to identify this 50 Bowman Yogi Berra, which is one of the cards on my want list this year. Actually, it's been on my list for a few years, but I was able to find that good eye appeal copy that I was looking for, well-centered, low grade, old SGC flip, which is, I'm probably the only one that prefers the old SGC slab, but I do. So I was happy to find one, and an old SGC 35, which, I don't really care what the grade is, but it was just a beautiful copy of that card, really nice back, and one of the great catching images in the hobby. So that was great. That was my first actual pickup at the National. And then I was kind of beelining it to a dealer, Authentic Memorabilia Inc., I think is the company. They're a large dealer, a large autograph dealer that deals in high-end autographs. And I had bought from that dealer in the past. And so I had sort of been tipped off by them that they had a couple Walter Johnson autographs this year. And obviously, Walter Johnson was my main priority this year, to pick up a Walter Johnson autograph. And I had it on pretty good authority that there was a couple Walter Johnson autographs at that booth, so that was kind of my first priority. And lo and behold, I got there and identified the Walter that I ended up buying. It was a beautiful PSA slabbed Walter Johnson autograph. Really nice, clean, fine signature in, I think this is a steel-tipped fountain pen autograph, because it was probably signed in the 30s. On an album page, a complete album page, with a PSA 8 graded Walter Johnson autograph. So that was my big pickup. I'm so happy to have a Walter Johnson autograph in my collection, the greatest pitcher of all time. What else can you say? I mean, that as soon as I got that out of the way, I was like immediately, exhale. You know, we all know that feeling when we go and we we hope we find that big thing, or we get that big purchase that we're after, and then we get it, and then okay, now I can kind of relax and walk around the show, be a little bit more personable, because I was really kind of laser focused until I found that piece. So then I ended up running into a few fellow YouTubers and other hobby friends of mine. I ran into Doug, Video Guy 316. He was shopping around, and I got to shake his hand and say hi. Of course, I came across George Diamond Yard Sports Cards and James Elite Hunters Table. They were set up there, and so I got to say hi to both of them at the show, and then again later after the show. I ran into Garrett from Ballpark Memories. He was walking around the show, and I don't think I had ever met him before, so I introduced myself, and he's an awesome dude. Great to meet him. Dealer, collector extraordinaire. And then I ran into Scott from Big Scott 35, or Big Scott 35, leaving the show when I was heading out. So then I walked across the street, and there was one other pickup. I did pick up a Larry Doby. 97 Donruss significant signature autograph. This is his first pack-pulled autograph for Larry Doby, and he wasn't, unfortunately, alive very long after these pack-pulled autographs started coming out. So there aren't that many pack-pulled issues for Larry Doby with autographs. So that's one of the ones that I really cherish in my collection. Even though Larry Doby is not on my top 100 list, you could call him number 101 if you want to, but I definitely wanted representation of Larry Doby in my collection, and that will pair along with my Redman Larry Doby that I keep just because I need representation for Larry Doby in my collection. So now I have that Redman Doby, and it goes along with this new ad, the 97 Donruss signature, which is numbered out of 2000. But yeah, very happy to have found that too. It's a card that I was also targeting. So then I walked across the street to the Embassy Suites, where Mike Moynihan, shout out, was organizing this happy hour, YouTube happy hour event that he does every year. And special thanks to Mike for all that you do for the community. We don't have to go into the logistics, but there were some unforeseen circumstances, whereas basically the National itself had imposed rules on these hotels to basically curb gatherings of collectors that were trying to get together outside of the National's jurisdiction, which is, in my opinion, ridiculous. I mean, they should want people to gather and get together. It's part of the experience, but I digress. Anyway, through no fault of anybody's, we were not allowed to stay at that Embassy Suite courtyard that we normally gather at, which was a big bummer because we had already started to congregate. I was passing out packs of 1989 tops. Someone had pulled an Andy Van Slyke and gave me one, so that was great. I forget who pulled this, but someone pulled an Andy Van Slyke, and he was my guy growing up, so they gave me that Andy Van, but I was just passing out packs and that 89 tops, and people were ripping packs, and we were having a great time already, and then about 40 minutes into it, we were told we couldn't stay. So then we started the journey. Going here, going there, walked to a little open concert area across the way, and then we came back. Long story short, we ended up in the lawn in the front of the Embassy Suites. I have a little video clip here, but basically we're all hanging out in the lawn. Pizza still came, so we had pizza and water and things to eat and drink. It still turned out fine, but it was just not what we were used to. And now I guess we can plan accordingly for future nationals. But we overcame. I think it's a testament to the strength of our group, of our collecting, our YouTube group, that everyone wanted to hang out so badly that it didn't really matter where we hung out, but we just knew we had to, so we made it work. So some of the people that I was able to run into, that this is really the reason that I go, honestly. A buddy of mine, Brad Askew, he's a big Eddie Murray super collector. I ran into him at the beginning there before we got kicked out, and it was great to see him again. Shout out to Brad. John, Wade Boggs fan, of course. He came up to me, gave me the latest John Wade Boggs fan card, custom card, signed by Mr. John. Thank you, John. Great to see you again, and congratulations on that Hank Aaron rookie card this year. That was a big pickup for you. Beautiful card, and congrats on those crossovers. Who else did I see? I saw Eddie of Eddie's Cardboard Chaos. He had a beautiful mosaic this year, a mosaic card of Ken Griffey Jr. with an awesome Seattle cityscape in the background. Again, autographed and inscribed. for his recent YouTube Hall of Fame induction. And then he gave me a Harvey Haddock sticker because he's a big Harvey Haddocks guy, Hard Luck Harvey, which is awesome because I love Harvey Haddocks. And he has a unique space in Pittsburgh Pirates lore with his 12 perfect innings and getting a loss, which is ridiculous. I still think it's the greatest game ever pitched, but you know, Hard Luck Harvey. What can you say? Who else? Mitch, White Sox fan card collector. He is a Chicago local, so it was pretty cool hanging out with him and talking Chicago a little bit with him. Great channel, great collector. Mitch, great to meet you, or great to see you again. Who else? I saw, Frank, the sports card CPA, formerly Baseball Hall of Fame Autographs. He has rebranded his channel to the Sports Card CPA because he is a CPA and he has really good specific tax information that's very useful to the community. So the combination of the autograph expertise as well as the tax expertise really brings a lot to the community. So thank you, Frank. It was awesome to, I think it was the first time I met him. So it was great to meet you and, get your card and hang out a little bit, talk autographs, because we talked autographs a lot. Showed him my Walter Johnson and we talked. And he was also hanging out with Bill, the Hall of Fame collector, and I got to really have some good conversation with him as well. And now here's where my story takes a turn. When I was talking to Bill, he had made me aware that he has an extra Grover Alexander autograph that he was actually looking to sell. And having spent what I thought would be most of my budget by this point, I was like, oh man, I'd love to see it, but I don't think I'll be able to swing that. So he whipped it out and he showed me his Grover Alexander autograph. And I was like, man, that's beautiful. It was a really nice autograph, kind of mounted on a piece of paper with some handwritten stats on it and slabbed up by SGC with a PSA letter. Exactly what I was looking for. And obviously Grover Alexander is one of the big autographs that I still have to get for my collection. So I put that in the back of my mind, filed that, and I had Bill's number, so we had correspondence afterwards. We'll come back to that later. Anyway, Scott, Reindeer Studios, gave me his Martin Digo custom card for this year, which is beautiful. The Maestro, signed by Scott, and it looks like maybe Orlando's signature. I didn't realize Orlando signed that, but that kind of looks like Orlando's signature. But yeah, great Cuban ball player there. And then I was able to procure a couple of cards from Scott, limited edition Roberto Clemente caricature card with the limited out of 50 and signed by Scott on the back, and the Nuke Lelouch limited edition custom card, limited to 100 and signed by Scott as well. So yeah, Nuke Lelouch is my favorite character from a baseball movie. Bull Durham is I think my all-time favorite, and old Nuke Lelouch is my favorite character. So it was really cool to add a Clemente custom as well as a Nuke Lelouch custom from Scott. So thank you, Scott. That was awesome. All right, next we have Adam of Vintage Sanctuary. Of course, me and Adam always have great conversations at the show. He's filling out that 38 Gaudi set. So great progress there, Adam. Congratulations, keep it going. It was great to see you, great to talk to you. Who else here? We had, Bradley Claus. It's not a national unless you shoot the breeze with old Bradley Claus. So it was great to see him. And then all the four collectors, John 3D 80s Kid, I guess 5 collectors now. So the 5 collectors from 4 collectors, John 3D 80s Kid, Sammy Thunder, Pepino Man, who I met for the first time. Awesome to meet Pepino. He's, a staple. Dan of Dan's Vintage PC. Great to meet him. I'm not sure if I had met him before, but we had met later on in the night, which was great to see him. And then Theo, of course, my Yinzer brother from Pittsburgh, Theo, Clemente collector. Great to see him always. And he had some great obscure Clemente pickups this year. So congrats, Theo. I think he completed a 68 tops Clemente run. So congrats on that. That's amazing. The rainbow, the vintage rainbow. Who else? Eric Four-Leaf Cards was trying to be patient this year. I'm not sure if he ended up landing that 54 Aaron, but I hope he did. But shout out to Four-Leaf. Who else? Jason, Everyday Card Collector. Got to meet him. He had some spotted cow that he was doling out, which is amazing. My favorite Wisconsin beer. So thanks for offering the spotted cow. I don't think I got one from him, but it was great that he was offering those spotted cows for people. Jeff A Fine Card Collector. It was great to meet him. He's a newer channel, so if you don't know Jeff, A Fine Card Collector, check him out. He's a great, great collector. Does a lot of 80s, 70s. He's actually focusing a lot on 60s right now, but awesome dude. Great to meet him. And let's welcome him into the community here and get him some subs and get him going, because he's a great guy. I'm sure we'll see him for years to come. Of course, the dynamic duo of John Mangini and Rick, Vintage Oddball Cards, they were all over the place. Got to see them and talk to them. Who else? Oh yeah, Jeremy Lee, Sports Cards Live. Got to talk to him a ton. We were kind of walking back and forth with each other, and at one point when the main collector gathering was wrapping up, we decided to walk together to Shoeless Joe's to get together with another group that was hanging out there. So me and Jeremy Lee got to hang out, walk over there together, and he signed this card for me, a limited edition out of 10, signed Cracker Jack card. He procured his big Shoeless Joe Cracker Jack card this year. So congrats, Jay Lee, on that big pickup. And now I own one of the most iconic cards in the Cracker Jack set, in my humble opinion. So thank you, Jeremy. What else? Oh, I ran into Dustin from Sports Cards Dad, formerly of Personal Finance Dad, on the way to that Shoeless Joe meetup. I got to see Darren of Return to Collecting. Who else? Orlando was there at Shoeless Joe's. Shout out to Orlando. Got to give him a big hug, and so great that he's healthy and with us. So great to see you this year, Orlando. That might have been one of my biggest highlights from the National this year, is giving Orlando a big hug this year. I got to see Darren's brother, Dean. Shout out to West 238th. He had an amazing custom this year from the Retirado set. He signed it for me as well. Mr. Dean, thank you so much. Dean, is it Goodman? Yeah, Dean Goodman. And great little write-up in the back here. Oh, yeah, but a beautiful Retirado combo here, custom. So that's one of my favorite ones. Right along with the Jay Lee card, I think those are the best customs of the year. But yeah, I know I'm forgetting people, but it's just so good to see everyone. Oh yeah, Mike Petty, of course, how could I forget? He was holding court, of course, at Shoeless Joe's, and the waitress came up to me and asked me if I wanted anything, and I was like, yeah, I'll take a Yingling. And so she brought me a Yingling. I was getting ready to pay, and I think people were wrapping up by that point, and so I was getting ready to close out, and the waitress was like, oh no, you're taken care of. I was like, what? No, I'm not, I haven't paid yet. And she's like, you're taken care of. And then I looked over, and Petty was like, and I was like, oh man, I'd heard the stories about this guy that like he just picks up tabs and picks up bills and buys dinners and stuff like that, but I was victimized, and by victimized, thank you, Mr. Petty, for the beer. It was delicious, and look forward to seeing you again someday at another national. Who else? Oh yeah, Greg, Midlife Cards. Got to see him there at Shoeless Joe's. He was hanging out, and he had two big pickups this year. A couple big T206 pieces to add to his collection. The big Cobb and Cy Young portrait. So congrats, Greg. And those are monumental pickups for the PC. So those are awesome. Beautiful examples for the grade. And I think Ryan Nolan of Breakout Cards was there. So I think I had run into him at a couple nationals before, but got to actually see all of his pickups. He had his big case out and was going through them, and I got to kind of see firsthand what he was picking up. So yeah, Ryan Nolan from Breakout Cards, just a amazing collecting mind, with a mind toward flipping as well. So it's cool to see what he was picking up, where he was getting value, sports, non-sports, kind of all over the map. But his base of knowledge is amazing. So that was great to spend some time with him and really hang out. I think that's all the shout outs I can remember. If I forgot you, I'm sorry. I think that's all I can remember. But anyway, it was just amazing. So then the next day, I was hanging out with buddies of mine, and we were down in Wrigleyville, and I'd heard that Tom Brady had opened his big card vault there in Wrigleyville, across from Wrigley Field. And so we went down and had a couple beers at a bar nearby, and then walked over to Card Vault by Tom Brady. And so I got some footage walking into the Card Vault here, and just it looks like a high-end retail store, except instead of having purses and handbags and shoes, it's unopened boxes and singles and graded stuff and merch, all the other stuff associated with the hobby, which is crazy. And another instance, along with that that vending machine I saw at O'Hare, like the thing is going mainstream here. There's a big retail shop across from Wrigley Field now that owned by Tom Brady, where they're selling high-end sports cards and a big vault in the back, literally card vault, which is it's just a crazy thing that's happening. So I think we're blowing up. We may be reaching the peak. Maybe that's what that means. But be that as it may, I just figured I'd show some of that footage. Oh, and I just remembered 4 other people that I ran into that I forgot to mention. Matt from Providence, I met him for the first time, so great to meet you, Matt. John Newman from, Sports Card Nation. Always good to see John. Mike Junkwax Hero. Awesome to hang out with Mike. He's a delight. And who else? Picker Jim S. Picker Jim S. Yeah, so I got to see Picker Jim S as well, which, the accent says it all, But just didn't want, I'm trying to remember everybody here. 2 weeks later, it's kind of hard. But if I ran into you, it was my pleasure, and it was such a fun time. And then someone that I wanted to run into that I actually didn't get to connect with was one of the greatest commenters in our space here, Michael Golden. One of the, I would say, the biggest supporters of my channel through the whole countdown period when I was doing my top 100 countdown. He was one of my biggest supporters, and I was hoping to meet him this year. He was going to be there, but I guess he wasn't there on Thursday when I was there, so we just kind of missed. And so he actually mailed me a letter, like he mailed me a letter and a copy of the 1972 Daily Juice Clemente. So thank you so much, Michael, for writing me that amazing letter and sending me a card that you totally didn't have to send me, but thank you. It's one of my favorite regional Clemente releases, and I will cherish it. Thank you so much, Michael. Your support over the years has been so great, and I really admire you and your musical talent. So yeah, thank you. Hopefully we'll get to actually cross paths at the next national or the one after, or both. So thank you, Michael. All right, what's next? Oh yes, so coming back to Bill, the Hall of Fame collector. In the week after the national, I was texting Bill, thinking about this in my mind, this Grover Alexander autograph that he had, and that was the second biggest autograph on my want list this year. And I had moved some funds around with my eBay and had made a couple sales, and it was looking like it was going to be feasible. And so when he gave me a price for that Grover Alexander, it was a very fair price, and I knew I was never going to find a Grover Alexander autograph that was of that quality for that price. And the fact that it was coming from someone trusted in the community, and in fact, a YouTube Hall of Famer, Bill, the Hall of Fame collector, that just made it even more intriguing to me. So I told him, let's do it. If you would sell it to me, I don't want you to list this thing on eBay, because for him it was an extra. He actually had 2 Grover Alexander autographs, if you could believe that. That's just the kind of collector that Bill is. But so a couple of days ago, it came in the mail. So this is my Grover Alexander autograph. I mean, this is maybe the rarest autograph that I own, one of the highest value autographs that I own, and we'll call this a secondary national pickup from 2025. I never imagined going into my 2025 national and being out a week afterwards and having both Walter Johnson and Grover Alexander. So unbelievable. I'm going to turn the camera around and actually show you some of these items in the context and how they fit into my collection real quick before I sign off for this video. But I plan on also making another video that's going to showcase my entire pre-war collection as it stands today. And this is more just for me, honestly. I don't really care who watches, but for me, it's good to log what I've been able to achieve in the pre-war space, both with autographs and pre-war cards, and how they pair together in my collection, because that's one of the biggest joys in my current collecting hobby. And so it's a little bit for insurance purposes. It's a little bit for my own, logging of my hobby journey. But look for that in the next week or so, because I'll be also posting that video soon. But anyway, here's a little recap of my national pickups. As a top 100 player collector, the most satisfaction I get is when I quote unquote complete a player, or I'm finished for a player, or satisfied for a player. And for pre-war guys, for me, that means a significant card, a period card, and an autograph, generally. There are a few exceptions, some autographs that are truly no touch, truly unattainable. And there are about 5 of those that I've identified. But aside from that, completion for me, for a pre-war player, is what you see in front of you. A period card, like this T207 from Walter Johnson. This is a really beautiful example from the Recruit Little T207 release. An early SGC slab. And now paired and completed with an autograph, which I think is still one of the values in the hobby today. We've seen how early cards signed by players have skyrocketed in value. If this card had been signed by Walter Johnson, you combine these two pieces into one, that's probably a six-figure item. And so if you're a collector that doesn't have six figures to put down on one piece, which I am not, I am grateful that I can still own the autograph and still own the period card. So that works for me. And in fact, I like owning a couple items for each pre-war player. So that is the first player that I completed this year at the National, Walter Johnson. Next up, I was able to complete my collection for Grover Alexander this year. This is my Playing Days card, the 1928 W502, blank back, Grover Alexander. Just a beautiful card. Shows him going into the windup here. Very similar to some of those ice cream cards that came out around that same time. And then the autograph for Mr. Alexander. You can see how this was lovingly pasted onto a piece of paper, and then a lot of these stats were inscribed. Pitcher, Phils, 1911 and 1917, Cubs, 1918 and 1926, Cards, 1927 to 1930, and Phils, 1930. And so, and then a record, 373 and 208, put in Hall of Fame in 1938. So just a cool little stat overview for Grover Alexander. By almost any metric, one of the top 5 pitchers of all time, with a 119 WAR, which is 5th all time among pitchers in WAR. And yeah, just one of the greats of all time. And just so honored to have an Alexander autograph to pair with my 28-502 in my collection, which completes my Alexander collection. One more shout out to Bill, the Hall of Fame collector, for making this possible. He sent me a nice letter, and this also came with certification through PSA DNA. So it comes with a PSA DNA full letter. So if I ever wanted to cross this over into a PSA slab, I could, for minimal cost. Would not have to pay that grading fee again. But I don't know, I'm not sure if I will. I kind of like how both of these have the old school SGC flips on them. They kind of fit together in my collection with the old SGC flip. So I'm not sure if I'll ever cross over that Grover into a PSA slab. Remains to be seen, but for now I'll keep it where it is. But again, thank you so much, Bill, for making this happen and, you know, enriching my collection. There's no other person I'd rather get this autograph from, so thank you, sir. Next up, here is my completed Bobby Feller collection. Of course, we have a baseball signed by Bob Feller and Johnny Mize and Enos Slaughter. So that's pretty cool. Got him on a baseball there with 2 other Hall of Famers. And then find me 2 nicer Bob Feller cards. I mean, here's my 52 Topps example, the beautiful autograph of Bob Feller. As 52 Topps examples go, you won't find one better centered, really, with a nicer autograph. So this is somehow a fair 1.5 card grade with an auto 9. And this is my one example from the 52 Topps set. And I just love it. Such a beautiful card. Smiling portrait shot of Bob Feller. And now that pairs in my collection with my new ad from this year, the 54 Wilson Franks food issue from the mid-50s. One of my favorite cards. And that rounds out my Bob Feller collection. So one more player that is complete, as far as I'm concerned, in my collection. Moving on, my collection is now complete for Yogi Berra. So here's my signed baseball. It's an Upper Deck authenticated. Beautiful sweet spot Yogi Berra signed baseball. An amazing Playing Days 51 Topps Redback, the first Topps card of all time, number 1 in the set from the first year of Topps. It's one of the most iconic cards that I can think of in the hobby, being the first Topps card of all time, and featuring Mr. Lawrence Berra. One of my favorite all time. 1999 Upper Deck Century Legends, Yogi Berra, beautiful on-card autograph from the 90s. 1998 Significant Signatures from Donner Signature, and a glorious Beckett 9.5 with 10 auto. And then to cap it off from this year's National, the glorious 50 Bowman. Beautiful image, beautiful centering. Such a pastoral setting there. Showing me a more beautiful catching card. I mean, just such a beautiful, beautiful card in the hobby. One of those low grade, high eye appeal examples. So yeah, Yogi Berra, complete. And last but not least, Mr. Larry Doby. This is my pre-existing Doby, the 52 Red Man Tobacco without the tab. Shout out to Jake, legends never die. Beautiful image of Doby. A glorious set. And an essential player. One of the greats of his time. And extremely important. And this is the National Pickup. The 97 Donner Signature, Significant Signatures, one of the few, actually the first pack pulled autograph for Larry Doby, and one of the few that exists. And that rounds out my Doby collection. So thank you so much for joining me on this recap. It was such a great experience, and I'm overwhelmed at what I was able to pick up this year. Thank you to everyone that I bumped into and talked to. It was an amazing experience, as always. So until next time, everyone, keep collecting and stay iconic.